I think, yeah. You first got
That's why I've been trying to write mine down.
That's right.
I've been trying to write mine down.
I know.
I told you.
They told me one more minute. Anybody got a testimony? Anybody want a testimony to share? Anybody got something to say?
We will not go away.
We will not go away.
Will not. All right.
We will not go away. Who's got a testimony to share? Anybody? All right. Moment of silence. Moment of silence for the trees.
Justice! First! 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 Justice! First!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Biomass has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Biomass has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Biomass has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Biomass has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Biomass has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Biomass has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Biomass has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Biomass has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Biomass has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Biomass has got to go! Hey, hey! Justice! First! 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 All right. Let's get going.
Kathy. Kathy.
Mississippi folks, come on up there.
All right, Mississippi. Let's hear it for Mississippi. How? We've come to our nation's home in front of the White House in solidarity from 5 states across the South in observance of this International Day of Action on Big Biomass. We're here about 30 plus strong in solidarity from 5 states across our nation to bring our message in person. We've come with our desperation to say, look, President Biden, stop the wood biomass environmental injustices in our communities. Many have never heard of wood biomass, and some have even been grossly misinformed. So let me tell you what's really happening. Our precious forests are being clear-cut, and our trees are then being dried, shredded, and then using one of the most hazardous, toxic manufacturing processes imaginable to grind our precious forests into small capsules referred to as wood pellets. Then they're shipped to other countries to be burned for energy, all in a misguided attempt to meet the goals of the Paris Climate Agreement, which we must do. But the reality is that the toxic manufacturing of wood pellets is emitting massive amounts of dangerous chemicals into the air that our community must breathe. Our southern communities are sick. Our southern communities are slowly dying. And the irony is that we're being sacrificed for an unjust energy transition that is equally disruptive to our climate as coal, or even more so. Because when the wood pellets when the wood pellets are burned, they emit the same amount of carbon into the atmosphere, if not more than coal. I'm here from Mississippi, and here are my colleagues. And in the words of the famous Fannie Lou Hamer, I want to say, we are sick and tired of being the sacrifice dome. Again, Mississippi, we're sick and tired of being sacrificed. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Reverend Leo Woodbury, and you know we can never win any battle, any fight without allies. And so I'm so glad at this time to introduce someone elected by the people to speak for the people, and he represents not only political power here that speaks to the White House, but also represents people everywhere in this country and around the world. So at this time, it is my great honor and privilege to introduce, all the way from the state of California, but still a part of America, Congressman Ro Khanna of the District of South Carolina. I'm sorry, I done gave you South Carolina, of California, all right? Thank you. All right. We want to take them home.
Well, thank you, Reverend Woodbury. This is important. You know, I was at the Hill. I usually don't come off the Hill because we still don't have a Speaker of the House. But when Reverend Woodbury said that people are out here from South Carolina and around the country to protest the biomass and the pollution that's causing in their communities, I said this is a matter of environmental justice. In this country, we shouldn't be cutting down trees to make wood pellets and burning those wood pellets and putting more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere.
Yeah, that's right.
162 million metric tons every day of greenhouse gases that are causing catastrophic climate events. And what folks here are saying is enough. What we need is a renewable energy future.
Yeah.
What we need is energy efficiency. What we need is solar and wind, not more of the same.
Right.
And let's speak clearly here, because we know that the people who get most hurt, the people that get most hurt when we have biomass are the communities in this country that are most vulnerable.
Right.
There are the communities that don't have the extraordinary resources to be able to move out to areas far from the biomass plants. There are communities that live near these plants. And they are often, let's just speak plainly, African American communities. So this is this is an issue of climate. This is an issue of healthy communities, and this is an issue of racial justice in America. And that is why I am out here in solidarity with Reverend Woodbury, with all of the citizens, to say no to new biomass plants that are harming our air and causing climate disaster. I am here to say we need a renewable energy future, and we need to listen to communities who are hurting and who have air that they can't breathe, and stand up for their dignity. Thank you for being out here.
All right.
right. Thank you so much, Representative Ro Khanna. Really appreciate you being here with us today. I'm Dana Smith. I'm the Executive Director at Dogwood Alliance. We're an organization focused on protecting the forests and communities of the South from destructive industrial logging. The timing of this press event coincides with a very disappointing announcement that came out of the White House this week. On Monday, Biden issued a proclamation in support of National Wood Products Week. He publicly expressed his support for wood energy markets. A few days later, he announced a $50 million investment of taxpayer money to expand wood markets, including wood energy markets. Boo. Look, President Biden. Look, President Biden, this is in direct conflict with your historic commitment to environmental justice. Over the past decade, the South has become a sacrifice zone for global wood products. The rate and scale of logging in the South is estimated to be 4 times greater than South American rainforests. The South is now the largest wood pellet exporting region of the world, with 23 wood pellet mills now exporting nearly 8 million tons of wood pellets to be burned in power stations in Europe and in Asia. Peer-reviewed science has documented what we already know, which is that these mills are disproportionately being sited in communities of color that are under-resourced and overburdened with dirty industry. Though burning wood as fuel for electricity is promoted as a climate-friendly alternative renewable to coal, nothing could be further from the truth. Hundreds of scientists have warned that burning wood to generate electricity releases more carbon than coal and will make climate change worse. Wood pellet mills also release toxic air pollutants that are known to cause serious respiratory and other life-threatening impacts. The clear-cutting of forests is stripping away the natural flood protection for communities at a time when extreme flooding is getting worse. The wood pellet industry is gearing up now for another phase of expansion. They're planning to build an additional 12 mills across the South. This industry cannot survive without taxpayer handouts. Governments in Europe have started restricting subsidies for the industry. The world's biggest wood pellet manufacturer, Enviva, is in serious financial trouble, and shareholders have been suing the company for making false green claims. Intense community, public, and scientific opposition has left the industry vulnerable to collapse. The wood pellet biomass industry is now looking for U.S. taxpayer handouts. The biggest players in the market, Drax and Enviva, are publicly pointing to the U.S. government's support for wood energy to help bankroll their plans for expansions. We are at a critical juncture, and President Biden has the power to stop this false solutions in its tracks and stand with the environmental justice communities suffering the impacts. That's why we are here today calling on President Biden, who has done more than any other president to advance environmental justice, to course correct this administration's support for biomass. We are looking to President Biden to deliver on his promise to protect environmental justice communities from dirty industry. We call on Biden to shut down the biomass industry. Yeah. Shut it down. Shut it down.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Shut it down.
We call on President Biden to cut all government subsidies and support for the industry and to invest instead in energy efficiency, solar, wind power, clean energy, forest protection, and truly green jobs in the communities that have suffered at the hands of the biomass industry. Thank you so much. And right now I'm going to introduce Reverend Leo Woodbury from South Carolina.
At this time, at this moment, at this hour, where the clock is ticking on this planet, when solar power is needed, wind power is needed, because the planet is under assault. Yes. And we know it because there's human and physical collateral damage being done every day, particularly in the South. My name is Reverend Leo Woodbury. I'm from South Carolina, the place that at the time that this country fought for its independence was the richest colony out of the 13. But it was the richest because it was enriched by the labor of stolen Africans.
That's real talk, Reverend.
It was enriched because of the stolen land from indigenous people.
That's real talk, Rev.
And because we never had justice, and because racial discrimination in the banking industry and other places placed our communities in low-lying areas and floodplains, that we are now living in a time and a place where we have to live with the exasperated impacts of climate change.
Yes.
In South Carolina, where our trees are clear-cut and the land is left scarred. In South Carolina, we find that the flooding is worse.
That's right.
We find that communities like Nichols, South Carolina, Sellers, South Carolina, have lost half of their population.
That's right.
Look, Biden, you wrote executive orders.
Yes.
You started things off right. You said that we were going to move beyond environmental racism that comes from targeting certain communities to a time and place where everyone would have environmental justice.
That's right.
Look, Biden, there's a new perpetrator in the South.
Yes.
There's a new perpetrator that just as communities that were made up of an indigenous and people of color, their labor was stolen. The land was used so that Europe and other places might be enriched.
That's right.
So at this time and this moment, we're speaking up. We have to protect our communities. We put you in office. You yourself said that South Carolina made the difference when we anointed you in the South Carolina primary and took you from the back to the front of the Democratic Party.
That's right.
At this time and this moment, we're calling on you to take the correct action. We don't need Enviva. We do not need the biomass industry.
No.
We understand that at one time we had to bail out the banks because it might have crippled our economy. But Enviva and these companies are not sustainable.
That's right.
That's why they need subsidies from Europe. That's why they need subsidies from the United Kingdom. And now, while Enviva's stock is going down and their shareholders are suing them for misinformation, they're coming to suck up the taxpayer dollars that should be used not to support an inefficient and non-sustaining business, and those subsidies should be used instead to build up communities so that we can have efficient homes, so that we can have new jobs, so we can have a transition that leaves nobody out and nobody behind. So look, Biden, look towards the future. Look towards these people who are the voice of America, because democracy is us.
That's right.
And if you really want to uphold it, then you're going to uphold the communities and you'll listen to us. Biomass, no. Renewable energy, yes.
That's right.
Biomass, no. Renewable energy, yes. Biomass, no. Renewable energy, yes. Biomass, no. Renewable energy, yes. Thank you very much.
No.
Renewable energy, yes. Thank you.
I'm going to just invite Miss Kathy Eglin to come up one more time. Kathy?
As Dana mentioned earlier, President Biden has done a lot. He has done more, a lot, but we need him to do more.
Yes.
Look, President Biden, clean up Trump's mess. Rescind the misclassification of biomass as carbon neutral. Go a step further and rescind its classification as renewable. It is anything but clean, safe, or carbon neutral. Heed the science. Look, President Biden, we appreciate your promises, but we want you to make good on them. Yeah. You have the power to do it, so let's finish the job.
Finish the job, President Biden. All right, we're now going to hear from Reverend Michael Malcolm from the People's Justice Council in Alabama.
Alabama!
Yes.
Attaboy, Mike.
Come on.
I want to express my sincere gratitude to each and every one of you for showing up and letting your voice be heard in this fight for our collective future. Throughout the South, planet and people are facing a manufactured crisis. In essence, we are being assaulted for the sake of manufacturing and exporting wood pellets. This is an assault on our health and our wealth. This is very evident in the state of Alabama, where we are inundated with these polluting facilities. People here suffer from the volatile organic compound emissions from the manufacturing process. Grounds are polluted and homes' values are decimated. However, this isn't the greatest assault. The greater assault is that this manufactured crisis is being subsidized by Alabama taxes.
All right.
We are paying for this mistake. Biomass has been labeled as a carbon neutral alternative. However, I have to ask this administration to take a look at the damage that Drax, Enviva, and Alabama Pellets are doing in places like Demopolis and Aliceville. See how their constant assault has created a crisis in these communities. Not only are we feeling direct assault, we are also affected by the same assaults happening in the surrounding states. The people are being assaulted. The planet is suffering from this assault. The emissions from the manufacturing and utilization of wood pellets is worse than a burning coal. Our trees have been buffers that help guard against the many unnatural weather disasters that we've had to face. Flooding, tornadoes, hurricanes, and severe storms have been exacerbated. Trees are our buffers. Thinning our forests for this mistake has manufactured a crisis for my state. Biomass is not carbon neutral. It harms people and planet. Today I call on President Biden to take a look and to be the environmental justice champion that you stood up to be. I call on President Biden to right this wrong. Stop the tax subsidies. This industry should not be granted energy tax credits. We should not have to pay for our own demise. Right this wrong, President Biden. I realize that you did not create this crisis, but you have the opportunity to correct it. Right this wrong, President Biden, so that Miss Carmela can breathe again. Right this wrong, President Biden, so that instead of Mr. Pete subsidizing the destruction of his life and the pollution of his land, he can utilize his land to subsidize his life and his livelihood. Stop this unhealthy and unsustainable practice. End biomass. Give us life. Give us hope. Give us a future. Right this wrong. Look, President Biden, correct this mistake. Thank you.
Right this wrong. Right this
Save our trees. No.
Right this wrong. Right this wrong. Right this wrong, President Biden. All right, we're now going to hear from Dr. Crystal Martin from Greater Greener Gloucester in Mississippi.
All right.
Look, Biden, I am Crystal Martin, a community activist, advocate, and resident of Gloucester, Mississippi. I am the co-founder and executive director of the Greater Greener Gloucester Project. Through this project, we fight environmental abuses spurred by the Drax Biomass facility, which has been fined $2.5 million, emitting more than 3 times acceptable levels of hazardous air pollutants and particulate matter into Gloucester's unsuspecting fence line community for many years. Our community consists of 80% black residents, with over 41% living below the poverty line. Community health surveys reveal that many residents, including our young children, have suffered declining health since the plant opened in 2014. At Greater Greener Gloucester, our mission is to enhance the awareness of the environmental and political health issues caused by this facility. We intend to seek justice for the damages associated with air pollution, and we will fight as long as we have to in order to ensure environmental, public health, and quality of life improvements for the residents. Today, I stand along with my mother, Jane Martin, a lifelong resident of Gloucester, and other advocates and activists representing the Amite County NAACP, the Mississippi State Conference NAACP, and Julian. I joined this fight because my mom has been hospitalized for breathing issues multiple times over the past 8 years. She suffers from chronic breathing issues, adult asthma, and other chronic illnesses as diagnosed from her medical doctor. She uses a breathing machine to sleep, and she relies on an inhaler 24 hours a day. She travels approximately 60 miles one way, multiple times a week to see her pulmonologist, her heart doctor, and her primary care physician. Carmela Causey, another resident of Gloucester, she now suffers from chronic breathing issues and congestive heart failure after losing her 2 pug babies as a result of the harmful toxins. The parents of the children in Gloucester report that their children suffer from ongoing allergies, asthma, and upper respiratory issues. The children's education is interrupted daily because they must travel approximately 45 minutes to visit the nearest doctor's office. Some parents also report that their children cannot play outside without getting sick. But then there are the children who live in mobile homes along the fence line. They play outside daily while inhaling and breathing in the very tiny particulate matter without knowledge or understanding of the harmful health impacts. We are here today to amplify the voices of the people from Gloucester who suffer daily from the harmful injustice caused by hazardous air pollutants, including large amounts of methane, formaldehyde, acrolein, and other toxic pollutants. We may be a small, majority black, rural, and impoverished community, but like all humans, we have rights to clean air. Under the Clean Air Act, we have the right to, and we intend to fight until we receive victory and justice for not only the residents of Gloucester, Mississippi, but for all the people suffering from the ill effects caused by these wood pellet plants. You are either a part of the solution or you are a part of the dirty air pollution. So to the government and the lawmakers, I challenge you to choose ye this day. Who are you going to serve? You are either standing with the people of Gloucester, Mississippi, and all of the other states that are battling these issues, or you are supporting the industry that puts profit over people by knowingly and egregiously poisoning our air. The biomass and the wood pellet industry are not good for our communities, our climate, nor our children. Our community is suffering, our children are sick, and our people are dying because people from the UK are making money and they are getting rich off this plantation that we call Drax. So look, Biden, as I close today, hear us when we say we are tired of suffering. We are tired of being sick. And we are tired of fighting for the right to breathe clean air, because we deserve the right to breathe clean air in the community in which we live. So I too, as Kathy Eglin said, I am reminded of the words of the great Fannie Lou Hamer of Mississippi. We are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
All right. Save our trees.
Save our trees. Save our trees. Save our trees.
No subsidies.
No subsidies.
Save our trees. No subsidies. Look, President Biden, save our trees, no subsidies. I'm calling up Mr. Richie Harding from Northampton First in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Hello, I'm Pastor Richie Harding of New Vision Christian Center. I'm out of Northampton County, North Carolina. I live about 2 miles north of an Enviva facility. That facility has been there about 10 years. The facility was allowed to come in against regulations. It was never zoned properly. So from day one, we have had issues with noise pollution, dust pollution. We have had traffic pollution. It is very difficult to live in a place where when you come outside and you try to get into a vehicle that you have work to pay for, that you need to wipe sawdust off of your windshields. It's very difficult to come to your home and see sawdust on the side of your homes, sawdust on your grounds. What is happening to you? What is happening to your HVAC system? You're breathing these things in. They're constantly contaminating you. They're on your clothing. You're transferring them to other people that's within your family. There are people that are dealing with the noise. Can you imagine being in your house and all through the night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you are hearing a constant pounding like this? You can't sleep. We have people that go there to visit their friends and they fall asleep at their houses because it's peace and quiet. Is there any fairness in that?
No fairness.
We're dealing with a company that tells us one thing. They put one thing on their website, that they don't use whole trees. They don't actually clear cut. They use things that come from other businesses. Well, I want to make it clear that I'm not against wood, the wood industry. I have a house that's made with wood. Sometimes I receive a check that's made out of paper. But the thing is, when you're going to tell me that you don't use whole trees, but you have a drone that fly above your facility and there's tons of trees that are there, why are you lying to me? When you tell me you only use the residues that's left from when other companies do this, then why do I look through my communities and I see that residue still staying there? You can't lie to me and tell me anything. When those trees are cut, there was someone living in those trees. Something was living in those trees. So now we have coyotes, we have cougars, we have bears. We have so many things that are moving into the communities where people live. They used to have their own habitat. But you're telling me that we only work with people that promise to replant. You're very good with your words because you never say anything that put any responsibility upon yourself. But you put it on everybody else. But when you come back with these plantation groves where nothing else can live there, because when it's time to cut those trees again, you want to make sure it's as easy as possible. You don't want to have to wait for birds that are habitating and migrating to be able to have to leave. Look, Biden, the outforcing of forests need to stop. These trucks are moving at an astounding rate. They caught flack over the trees. If you watch CBS Morning News on Earth Day in 2020, it opened in Garrisburg, North Carolina. You can look there on Google and you can Google it and see exactly what I'm talking about. But there was a man that was on there named Don Calloway. He was the vice president of equity, inclusion, and diversity. Someone that looked like me. Someone that was supposed to represent me to make sure that their business was doing what they were supposed to do. But he failed to do that. He sat there and lied on television, and they laughed in his face right there. We've had investors here from other countries that say we won't do this to our communities. Why are you doing it to yours? These people think we will not fight back. They think the fight was not in us. I can tell you today in 2017, my brother, who's the owner of Ryan Consulting, was inside this building right here receiving the Small Business Award from Linda McMahon. He told me that you got to stand up for what you believe in. You got to continue to do what's right. If it ain't right, don't get in it. But if you're going to do it, you stay all the way in it. So even though my brother has transitioned around, I love you. I'm going to continue to fight and do what I got to do for my people. Which is why I have this on this shirt, a voice for our people. If you don't want to stand for your county, you don't want to stand for your citizens, you don't want to stand for your state, that's your problem. But it will not be one of mine. Because from this day until the day that I do not breathe again, I will fight for my people. Stop this madness. Stop this biomass. Thank you.
Renewable energy, yes.
Biomass, no. Renewable energy, yes. Biomass, no. Renewable energy, yes. Biomass, no. Renewable energy, yes. Biomass.
All right, look, Biden, we need you to stand with communities. I'm going to call up Ms. Deborah David from the Concerned Citizens of Richmond County in North Carolina.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. My name is Deborah David. I'm from Richmond County, North Carolina. I'm the organizer for Concerned Citizens of Richmond County. And I'm here to tell you about the impacts that the Enviva plant has on my community. In my community of Hamlet, North Carolina, people are sick there. They have asthma, headaches, nosebleeds. For a lot of them, the doctor don't even know what's wrong with them because they are no diagnosed of this wood pellet industry. Sawdust and stuff going up in people's nose and all. Respiratory issues are number one problem. Asthma is another, I'll say, number one problem. We are number 5 out of the state of North Carolina that have a high rate of asthma. Okay, with Enviva being here, people are having to use asthma pumps to help the breathing issues. So my neighbor next door, she has 3 asthma pumps and a nebulizer machine. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. And I myself have 2 asthma pumps. I have to use one every day regardless. And the other one is whenever needed. We should not have to have imitation breathing chemicals going inside of our body versus clean air.
Yes, that's right.
We should breathe clean air. There should not be a substitute for us to breathe. I'll say that. A chemical cannot dissolve sawdust. And I live down the road from Enviva, that's what I got to say. And black predominant community. 300 people. We should not be near Enviva plant. Small community. And all of them in the community, I'll say 70% of them have some kind of issue with breathing. And that's not fair to our community.
It's not.
No, well, we ask Biden right now that enough is enough for a community fighting for their health.
That's right. Enough is enough. Enough is
okay? That out of 12 families in our community, and I stay on one block, something like a U shape, it's 12 families. 8 families have asthma pumps and nebulizers. That should not be so, Mr. Biden. And I say again, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Okay? We would like for Mr. Biden to shut down the biomass industry. If not, at least stop subsidizing them. Put stricter regulations on the pollution limits Install air monitors in the community that we can monitor emission ourselves instead of relying on the bad actors and do the polluting and only tell us about air quality warnings after the fact. Do the right thing, Mr. Biden. That's one thing we ask. Invest in the communities, not in the industries.
Yes. Yes.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
All right, President Biden, invest in our communities, not in pollution. I'm going to introduce up now Dr. Treva Gear from the Concerned Citizens of Cook County in Georgia.
All right, look, Biden. We are here and we shouldn't be here fighting for what we're fighting for, which are just basic human rights and civil rights. I stand before you today. I'm Dr. Treva Gear with the Concerned Citizens of Cook County, and my fellow members here, Lisa Pigney and Miss Addie Mitchell. We stand representing Cook County, Georgia. That's Adel, Georgia, Deep South Georgia. And the issues that we're facing with being a targeted community by the wood pellet industry. So I would first tell you that we were birthed by the wood pellet industry. We found out 3 years ago that there was a wood pellet plant coming called renewable biomass energy. We know that biomass is not renewable. Look, Biden, biomass is not carbon neutral, and it's not clean or green. No. However, we knew something wasn't right about that. And then they permitted the first plant in 2021. That same plant, we thought we did all we could. Second plant came in 2021 and wanted to target our community. But this is nothing new for the southeastern United States and environmental justice communities like ours. What do I mean by environmental justice? Communities that are at least 25% people of color, those that are high poverty. That's us, 23.1% poverty, and then a majority African American community, and communities that need economic progress. That's ADEL. However, we have two proposed wood pellet plants for Adel, Georgia, being a population of 5,500 people. And that sounds the death toll for our community. Right. However, we've been fighting and fighting and fighting.
Keep fighting.
And it's an issue because we're already overburdened by industries. We have people who are suffering in silence while being poisoned in plain sight. We have the telltale sign of legacy pollution of the old lumber yard because we have a sordid past with the wood industry where there's creosote soaked into the soil and people had cancer all adjacent to that property. But now we have the second wood pellet plant that would be the largest in the world sitting adjacent to that old lumber yard that is now brownfield. And our fight continues. Clean air is a human right. It's a civil right. However, when we look to protection from our regulatory agencies like the EPA, and we went to them and even talked to the Environmental Justice Department, we could get no freedom. We could get no justice. They still permitted these industries. So what we're asking is that, first of all, we know that trees are the lungs of our earth. And if you don't take care of our trees, you're not taking care of us because we need trees to absorb pollution. Trees are the solution for pollution. We need to stop funding the demise of our environmental justice neighborhoods through the wood pellet industry, which does nothing but further harms us already. We know that something has to change. Something has to change. I'm asking President Biden to stop the designation of woody biomass as carbon neutral because it is not. We must stop and block any federal funding of programs that promote this as a clean, green, or renewable source. And we cannot continue to build economic progress on the backs of blacks and brown people. In the South, first it was cotton. Now it's the wood pellet industry. Fund funding the biomass industry is funding oppression and injustice.
Right.
We are simply sick and tired of being sick and tired. So we're asking you to stand with us. And we're asking President Biden to look down and not just fund us through EJ funding, but prevent us from being an environmental justice community at all. Because the cumulative impacts in the environmental justice designation that many of the communities that are targeted by the wood pellet industry continue. They are doing it now. They're polluting they are polluting in Gloucester and other places and continue to do so. We have 9 pellet plants in Georgia. Clean air is a human right. It's a civil right. And we're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
All right, look, Biden, trees are the solution to the pollution. On this day, 12,000 people have signed a petition to the world's largest wood pellet manufacturer in Viva, asking them to stop polluting communities and to protect our forests. Look, President Biden, we need you on our side. I'm going to introduce now Chief Pete Parr, who is chief of the PD Indian tribe in South Carolina.
Good morning. I think it's still morning. My name is Chief Pete Parr, the PD Indian tribe of South Carolina. I live in a little area called Brownsville, South Carolina. And when I was born in a little town called Churraw, South Carolina. And I kind of moved away from there back in 1957 and went right up the road here, Baltimore, Maryland, and lived up there. And when I was up there, I didn't realize that there was so much concrete. Everywhere you looked, you had sidewalks and backyards and front yards. It was all made of concrete. No woods. If you had woods, you had to go out to a park area, and that was outside of the city of Baltimore. Once in a while, you did have a park there. I think they used to call Patterson Park. Most of the people probably remember that area up there. Well, when I left South Carolina in '57, it was full of trees and forests. I came back in 1990. And it had trees and forests. And then all of a sudden, this big old devil come by, which is called a virus, or what's the name of the...
Biomass.
Biomass. Got involved with us. Just like everything else in life, our people took care of the land. We didn't destroy the land. The greed has taken over, Biden. When you became our president, you said that you're going to make it better for us.
Yes.
Where's the better at?
Yes. That's right.
Where's it at?
That's right.
Our people are dying today because they cannot breathe.
That's right. Sure.
Go to the hospitals. Go to the nursing homes. Look around. Look at this old man you're looking at now. I've been in the hospital 3 times for pneumonia. I'm 74 years old. I'm a healthy young man.
Yes.
And I can't breathe. What's going on?
Right.
I live in an area called the United States of America.
That's right.
The greatest country there ever is, and ever was, and ever will be.
That's right.
And our people are dying because of greed. Biden, open your eyes.
Yes.
Look around and see that your people are crying out to you.
Yes.
We're your people right now.
That's right.
You're our daddy. Hey, that's true. My Bible tells me that those are over you and that we claimed and we voted for and they're in office to pray for them and respect them and In order for me to do that, you got to do what you say. Open your eyes, Biden. Open your ears. Start listening to what we're asking you.
Yes.
Don't make us demand things.
That's right.
We're asking. My people, when all these colonies come across and they stopped at the shores of South Carolina, they come off that boat. My people gave them a hand of friendship. Them people cut our hands off. Don't do that to us, Biden.
That's right.
You told us something, now do what you say.
That's right. That's right.
That's all we ask you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Justice!
Close. A little bit.
Justice first! Justice first! Justice first! Justice first! Justice first!
Justice first. All right, President Biden, we're praying for you to do the right thing. I'm going to introduce up Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali, who is with the National Wildlife Federation.
Good morning, everyone. Now let's try it again. Good morning, everyone. I want to bring into our conversation today my ancestors, and I specifically want to make sure that President Biden is hearing the words that they share with us and guide us as we make this work. My grandmother once said that when you know better, do better. We'll try it again. When you know better, do better. And President Biden, we have heard you share with the country that we have a climate crisis. We have heard you share with the country that we also have a biodiversity crisis. And we have also heard from all of our people that we have an environmental justice crisis. So we're asking you to not only know better, but to do better. We understand that the first principle of the environmental justice movement is about honoring Mother Earth, about ecological unity, and about the interdependence of all species. So when you don't move forward with the actions that are necessary, you put all of those lives in danger. We understand that we are not just talking about theory here, but we're actually talking about real lives. Mustafa, what does that mean? There are studies that have shown that over 250,000 people lose their lives prematurely because of the burning of biomass. So therefore, we know, President Biden, that we need you to do better. In this moment, we also know that it's not just you who have to do better. We also understand that our nonprofit organizations have a responsibility in this moment to stand in authentic partnership with the front lines who are doing the work. Because we understand that when we do not do that, we leave gaps in the process for those to use the levers to be able to slow down the progress that is so necessary. So when my grandmother says that when you know better, do better, we understand what the charge is. In this moment, we also understand that we have an opportunity to make real change happen. Brothers and sisters have shared with you the dynamics that are happening inside of their communities. You have the tools to make change happen. Instead of moving forward on supporting both in the words and in the dollars those industries that would continue to put harm on our communities, we need you to move forward on this clean economy you keep talking about. We understand that wind and solar can be the energy sources that are needed that will no longer place these disproportionate impacts on our people. We understand that when you utilize biomass, that you create opportunities for cancer to move inside of our communities. We understand that we have 24 million people in our country right now who are dealing with asthma, with 7 million children. So when you look into that camera, you are looking into the eyes of those babies who are looking for a better future. And you have the opportunity to actually make that become a reality. It was often shared with me when I was a young boy that a system cannot protect those it was never meant to protect. You have said that you want to protect our most vulnerable communities through your executive orders and through the guidance you have given those federal agencies. We need that to become a reality in an even greater way. Dr. King said that we come to these shores in different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. We understand that this boat can move toward justice, to the North Star that we all ask for, or it can lead us into despair. This is your opportunity to make sure that we are moving in that positive direction. I will leave you with this, that you often do not teach folks in this country that they have power, but we understand that we do. So I'm going to ask everybody who's here in this park today to say power. Say power. And now we're going to focus it where it's actually supposed to go. Say power to the people. Say power to the people. And since I believe in the power of the Trinity, I want to say it one last time. Put your right hands in the air and make sure the folks who are looking out those windows behind us know that we're serious about what we're asking for. We will stand with you in solidarity when you do the right thing. But if you do not, we're going to call it out until you do. Everyone say power to the people. Power to the people. I'm Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali.
Woo, power to the people. And look, President Biden, if you know what's wrong, do what's right. Right? If you know what was that, Mustafa? Your grandmother said, you know it, know better, do better, President Biden. All right, we're almost wrapped up here. We're just going to bring Reverend Leo Woodbury out to close up the press conference.
All right, so look, Biden, I know you're going to see this, or your staffers will, and if you hear about it and they don't show it to you, you need to call somebody into the Oval Office. The reason why I say that is because the word democracy means rule of the people. And the people are here in the people's house. We only temporarily let a president occupy our house. So we want you to know right now that you've heard from the people. You've heard about the illnesses. You've heard about the asthma. You've heard about the homes that are falling apart. You've heard about the communities that are being dismantled. You heard about the biodiversity that is being disrupted. You've heard about an industry where there's no market in the United States and no one is prospering except for extractive companies that take things out, but leave nothing but death and sickness and destruction in its place. And so we never gather. We never come together without having a call to action. Because when you do not send people back with specific asks and tasks to take back to their communities, then all we had was a wonderful social gathering and event. So we want you to know right now that we're going back to Mississippi. We're going back to Alabama. We're going back to Georgia. We're going back to North Carolina. We're going back to South Carolina. We're going to Louisiana. We're going to Tennessee. We're going to Kentucky. We're going to every place that we know in this place. And what we're going to tell them is that we want this industry shut down. And we're speaking now with our voice, but soon we'll be speaking with our vote. So look, Biden, we are the people. Look, Biden, we need you to make a difference. Look, Biden, we are democracy. Look at us. This is what democracy looks like. 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 No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. Justice first. Justice first. Justice first. Justice first. Justice first. Justice first. Save our trees. Save our trees. No subsidies. No subsidies. Save our trees. Save our trees. No subsidies. No subsidies. Power. 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 Say it like you mean it. Power. Power. Power to the people. 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 We shall win.